Hello there, beautiful, beautiful people, and thank you again for joining me today. We are still in chapter 2 of God Don't Like Ugly. We're just going to go ahead and conclude it so that we can move on to chapter 3. Do me a huge, huge favor. If you want to be a part of the gift card giveaway, make sure that you not like, make sure that you hit the subscribe button, okay? Hit the subscribe button, like, share. You can even give it the thumbs down if you don't like it. That's perfectly fine. I love you anyway. So, jumping right in, we are right at the point in chapter 2 where the tornado just hit Annette and her mom and dad's home that she loved so much. Nobody said anything, but we all knew what to do. Mama blew out the lamp, grabbed me by the arm, and followed Daddy into the bedroom, where we all crawled under the blanket on the mattress and waited. The hardest part was not knowing if we were waiting to live or to die. Tornadoes were tricky. One could destroy everything in its path, including people's lives and dreams. It could tease the move on another area It could tease then move on to another area, or it could suddenly cease. The storm was next. Our house shook violently that moment, then was still. The window on the side of the bed exploded, and most of all the glass ended up on the mattress with us. Mama prayed, Daddy cussed. I didn't do anything but lie there and cling to my daddy. He had one arm around me and one arm around Mama. The storm gave the house a real jolt, so hard Daddy stopped cussing and started praying along with Mama. God must have been listening because not long after that, the storm ceased. By then, though, it was morning. One second. The next morning, we cleaned up the glass, then checked to see how much damage we had to deal with. Miraculously, our house was still intact, but our backyard outhouse was gone. We found out later that a shack occupied by an old Seminole Indian man had been relocated to a field in the next country with an old man still in it, dead. Somebody's frantic and confused hog ended up in our backyard, but ran into the woods as soon as it saw our faces. Daddy put on his work clothes and Mama fixed breakfast like it was another day. But it was not just another day. He said he didn't have time to eat. Instead, he started walking around the living room like he was nervous and glancing out of the window every few minutes. He looked at me a long time standing in the middle of the floor watching him. Suddenly, Daddy left the room and returned a few minutes later, holding one of our shopping bags in one hand and a lunch bag bulging with bologna sandwiches in the other. Annette, you better be good, he said in a low voice. He started walking towards the door, but turned around and ran across and kissed me on the forehead. Hmm. Not the normal, not the typical morning of departing to go to work, knowing that you will return home. Daddy, what's the matter? I wanted to know. I was puzzled and afraid. Then Daddy didn't answer me. Mama followed him out of the door, and I heard them arguing on the front porch. I couldn't tell what they were talking about, but both of them were cussing. This is not good. This is not good because baby girl can already sense that something is going on that's out of the norm. And dad is pacing, looking funny, and now he's grabbing this bag, packing these all these sandwiches, and she's asking like, "Daddy, what's going on?" So mom and daddy are now talking in a different area, and Annette can hear them cursing and arguing. I ducked back into the kitchen, grabbed a biscuit, then ran to the living room door in time to see a white woman in a dusty green car drive down the hill towards our house. Daddy jumped in while the car was still moving. I stood on the front porch next to Mama, watching the car turn around and shoot back up the hill. Mama, who is that white woman? Is she giving Daddy a ride to work today? I asked with my mouth full. Finish your biscuit, girl, Mama said tiredly. Then she went into the kitchen and started sweeping and crying. We spent most of the day cleaning and wiping and cleaning the same spots over and over and yelling at me every time I tried to get her to tell me why she was crying. You ain't nothing but a child. You don't know nothing about nothing, she insisted. Get that broom yonder and get busy. I did so much sweeping that day that my arms got sore. Later, Mama started sewing on a quilt she was making for a lady at church. When she ran out of things to do, she went to the mattress and fell face down and cried some more. The days seemed so long when Mama and I didn't go to work. With no friends and hardly any toys, there was not much for me to do but eat. I left the bedroom and went to the kitchen to finish off a blackberry pie. After I felt good and stuffed, I went back to the bedroom. Mama, what's the matter? I asked again. I sat on the edge of the mattress and patted Mama's trembling legs. The only other times I had seen her cry was when we were running from the Klan. The Ku Klux is coming again, Mama? Go to the yard and see if the storm messed up my garden, she ordered. Her eyes were red and swollen, and she looked like she had been beaten. Lickety split, she dismissed me with a wave towards the door. I ran to check on the garden. I returned to the bedroom within minutes. It's got a bunch of old nasty water in it, and the onions popped up out of the ground. The greens and everything else look all right, though, I reported. Can you turn the stove? Good. We still have something to nibble. Least till I can figure out what to do, she sniffed, smoothing her hair back with her hand. She had cried so much there was a spot on her bed that was soaked with her tears. Mama, what's the matter? We moving again? I attempted to rejoin her on the mattress, but she pushed me away with her ashy bare foot. Go in the room yonder and find something to do, girl. Ma'am. Read the Bible, she growled. I didn't know how to read, but I still finished. I fished out the old Bible with no covers from the shopping bags in the corner of the living room. The pictures were interesting enough to keep me occupied for a while. When I went back into the bedroom, Mama had closed the door. I put my ear to it and I can hear her crying again. At my usual time of day, when the sun began to disappear, I went to sit on the front porch to wait for Daddy to come dragging down the hill. To pass time, I got up every few minutes to stir the stick around in some of the puddles still in the front yard. When he didn't come home at the time he should have, I went in to eat with Mama. It was the first time we'd eaten dinner without Daddy. I didn't even bother trying to pry any information out of Mama anymore. Her eyes were even redder by then. She was not eating. She just kept staring at the wall and pushing beans and neck bones around on her plate. I took my plate with what was left on it and went back to the porch steps to finish eating. When it got dark enough for the lamp, Mama came to the door and poked her head out. Annette, carry that plate in the kitchen and get ready for bed, she told me. But I have to wait for Daddy. Your daddy gone, she snapped, waving both arms. She already had on her nightgown. Now go get in your sleepers and go to bed like I told you, and wash that nasty plate. Daddy gone where? I whimpered. My voice trembled as I stumbled into the house. I didn't believe what I was hearing. My daddy would not just run off and leave us. Where did he go and didn't take us? When he gonna come back for us? I choked. Your daddy's a good man in a whole lot of ways. But like all of us, he ain't perfect. He had a weakness of the flesh. One was a white woman. Before you was born, I was hearing about him and this white woman and her money. He just got fed up and tired of stressing over having such a hard life and riling them Ku Kluxes. When this hussy was ready to take him in, he was ready to be took, Mama said sadly. Things like this happen every day. She let out a long sigh and shook her head. There were tears in her eyes, but she managed a weak smile. We'll be fine. Colored women stronger than colored men anyway. You'll see. Now, like I said, get ready for bed before I get my switch. Mama hugged me and kissed me on the cheek, but she still thumped the back of my head with her fingers. I washed my plate, dried it with the tail of my flour sack smock, and put it on top of the ones Mama had already washed and set on the counter. My head felt like it was going to explode. I had so many questions in it that needed to be answered. The only thing I knew was that my daddy was gone and he had left us with the white woman in a green car. After we went to bed, Mama cried in her sleep. With no glass in the window, bugs, mosquitoes, and moths flew in and out of our bedroom. There was just enough moonlight for me to see the hoot owl fly up on the perch on on the sill. I kept my eyes on that owl until I finally fell asleep. When I got up the next morning, the owl was gone and Mama was still asleep. I got dressed and went to sit on the front steps, hoping to see Daddy walking down the hill. After what seemed like an eternity, Mama came out to the porch holding a gray and brown clay jug Daddy used to drink from. It was where he kept his moonshine he got from the man who lived on the other side of the lake. We ain't never going to see Frank no more, Mama told me again. I let out a long, painful sigh. This time, I really believed her. Immediately, our lives changed dramatically. Mama started working 5 days a week instead of two, and we had to hide from even more bill collectors. One day, about a week after Daddy's departure, Mama was in the kitchen rolling out some dough to make dumplings. I was sitting on a footstool looking out of the living room window when another car pulled up in the yard. It was a green car. For a minute, I thought it was the white woman bringing my daddy home. I gasped and leaned my head to the window, already grinning and waving. Before I could get too excited, a scowling white man in a black suit leaped out and rushed toward the house carrying a briefcase. Mama, here come that old mean Raleigh man walking real fast, I yelled over my shoulder. Raleigh men were individuals, usually white men, who patrolled the rural areas in cars loaded down with various items that they had sold to people like us on credit. A month earlier, Mama had purchased a straightening comb and a mirror with some work shoes for Daddy and two pairs of pedal pushers and some peanut brittle for me. The first time the man came to collect, she told him, come back on Tuesday. On Tuesday, she told him, I meant next Tuesday. That Tuesday it was, come back on Friday. This was his sixth visit, and we still had not paid him. Oh shit, Mama wailed. I heard her run across the floor. Tell him I'm at the store in town, and you don't know when I'll be back. Then she fell across the floor behind the living room couch. Where's Gussie Mae? The man started talking before he even got in the house. Before I can get off the footstool, he had snatched open the screen door and marched in. She gone to the store in town to get some buttermilk, I said, nervously rising. Store, huh? The man started looking around the room, twitching his eyes and screwing up his lips. I got even more nervous when he started tapping his foot. Well, the next time she go to the store, tell her to carry her feet with her. Then he left, slamming the screen door so hard the footstool fell over. I turned around just in time to see Mama's feet sticking out from behind the couch before she leaped up and started brushing off her sleeveless gray cotton dress. Mama made some bologna sandwiches. We packed our clothes that night and we left behind our broken down furniture, that lumpy mattress. We spent the next few days eating bologna sandwiches and sleeping on a couch in the house of a lady from the church. We lived like that for 3 weeks, roaming from one church member's house to another until we ran out of people willing to put us up. I felt more adrift than ever. Mama and I got on our knees and prayed harder than we usually did. By the end of the month, we had found a place to live. God didn't come through again, Mama sobbed. We moved into a dark room in a rundown boarding house in Miami's worst neighborhoods. The windows had plastic curtains you could see through. And there was a sink in the corner with a faucet that never stopped dripping. There was nothing else in the room. It reminded me of a prison cell I'd seen in a movie on television at one of the white women's houses. Mama got us a hot plate a pen, and a blanket from a secondhand store. Food that needed to be refrigerated. When we did, we had to eat it all up the same day. I'm going to stop right there, even though it's still chapter 2. We will pick up, I promise you, I promise you, I promise you, later on today, and we will continue chapter 2. We will actually finish chapter 2 and go into chapter 3. So we are at a point. Daddy is gone. He left directly the next day following the tornado with the white woman in the green car. And now Mama is trying to pick up the pieces and feed Annette and take care of Annette. The bill collectors came. They had to actually leave again because Mama can't pay for the things that they had previously got on credit the month before. So now we're here. Mama has found this new room in a boarding house in this really, really bad neighborhood in Miami. However, she's determined to make it. They got them some essential things that they need, a few food items, and a hot plate to cook them on. Then she made sure she also got them a blanket to sleep on. So we're going to pick up from there. With the net telling us that they didn't have a refrigerator. So when they did buy food that had to be refrigerated, they cooked it all that day, ate it all that day. So until next time, people, you be good. Don't forget to hit the like button if you like it, the thumbs down button if you don't like it. But more importantly than either of those two buttons, I'd like for you to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for your support.